Hello and welcome to Season 1, Episode 2 of our podcast, FeVR Dreams. And FeVR Dreams. And we are recording this live on 13th September of 2020. And today with me are Cypher Orion, also known as Onion. Hello, Cypher.
Hello.
And Chat, also known as Lyfesaver. Welcome. Hello. How are you guys doing today?
Good. How about yourself?
Doing good as well. So we have some stuff to talk about, right? And we have a show notes document for that, which has been shared in the Discord because we are doing this live recording on Discord, so you can chime in there. But we are also streaming this on our channels, and you can chime in there as well, just so you know where you can find us. And later this will be put on YouTube, and you can watch the not live recording because it's recorded then. Okay. In the show notes, I have put up a slide bullet point list, and that is structured with like FeVR community news as the first point. And as we are the FeVR community, maybe that's interesting to talk about because we had a nice giveaway going on last time.
Yeah.
And that already finished, and we had pretty cool stuff to give away. And the first giveaway is done. And what's to say about that? The cool thing about that is we will have a monthly giveaway, right?
Yep, it's every month. Every month, yes, absolutely. I'm trying to stack up some extra for this month as well. And I think we're going to officially start it on Monday. So tomorrow.
So announcement is coming up soon, right?
Awesome. Yep.
Yeah, and in the last giveaway, we had some pretty cool stuff, not only digital rewards, so to speak, but also physical rewards. And that included, for example, a MacBook Air, woo, an Oculus Quest, woo, and we have some t-shirts and stickers that will be sent out, and some game keys. So we were able to
mod mic wireless.
That's
every month. That's every month.
It's so present that I even forget about it. It's like you don't see the trees because of the woods. I don't know. Yeah, right? It's omnipresent already here. Yeah, of course. And we had some mod mics to give away. Very cool. Congratulations to all the winners we had there. We were able to team up with the Tower Tech guys, with Synth Riders, to give out some keys, and I think it was four games in one package, right? Which were the other two?
It was O-Shape and Tower Tech, O-Shape, Synth Riders, and Pistol Whip.
Pistol Whip. Oh, we have to talk about Pistol Whip later,
of course.
Because I just realized that in Pistol Whip, I don't know when that happened, but they introduced achievements. Who has played who has played Pistol Whip and was going for achievement hunting?
I don't know of anybody that's seen it. This is the first I've heard of it, so I haven't.
It must have been introduced with the last or the update before that. And
it's actually been a minute since I've played Pistol Whip.
Yeah, I played that last Sunday, and I saw, I'm a big fan of Everspace, and Everspace has this mode, which is a mode where you don't kill any enemies, a pacifist run. And we were trying to do that in Pistol Whip. So Crane, for example, from the FeVR community tried to do that, and I tried to do that, and Pistol Whip, is very taxing on your legs. And that's already when you try to shoot enemies and just evade them so they don't shoot at you again. But what happens if you don't shoot them and try to avoid the bullets they are shooting again and again?
Into your worst nightmare, bullet hell in VR. That's what that turns into.
As I mentioned before, I'm a big fan of Everspace, and key in Everspace is circle strafing. Circle strafing is like evade in a circle, and that works in Pistol Whip as well. That's how I got the achievement last time. And I tell you, my legs have been burning a lot, but that's how it is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, cool. So I think we can expect those games in the giveaways in the next month as well. And mod mics are in the giveaway as well. That's pretty cool. Is there anything else that at least I don't know about yet?
that yeah, there are some other things that no one really knows about yet that will be
Sneak
announced.
peek.
Yeah.
Ah, dang it.
No sneak peek today. No sneak peek today. But yeah,
It was worth a try.
Some of the things.
Some other things. Ah, nice. Looking forward to that.
absolutely.
Yeah, that has been the first giveaway, and that was pretty successful. Again,
It was,
congratulations to all the winners.
Yeah.
Is there anything else? Chat, you wanted...
Well, I do on the giveaway. I did want to say that the winners that got T-shirts and stickers and all that. I'm hoping that those will come in on Monday, and I'll be able to send those out on Tuesday. And for other members that are, just hold tight. We'll get those out for everybody. So yeah, a lot of the digital stuff has of course all been shipped, but the other stuff will be shipping out probably the beginning of this week.
Ah, cool.
This upcoming week. Yep.
Nice to know.
Digitally shipped. It's in your email.
The quest is in your email.
Oh, did you compress it with like zip or so? Oh, okay.
No, 7 zip. Yeah.
7 zip. Okay,
good
that's
choice.
cross-platform.
LDMA compression. Good stuff.
And it's cross-platform. 7 zip is available for Mac users and Linux users as well.
That's my tool of choice when it comes to compression. Absolutely.
Ah, great. Right on. I put up a new bullet point on that list, which I called VR gaming news. So what has happened in the VR world the last 2 weeks since we last time spoke about VR stuff, and which we didn't catch before and stuff. And there is one thing, because we're speaking about the Oculus Quest, there's one thing coming up that Facebook is going to halt their sales in one country. Mm-hmm. And that country is especially picky about data privacy. And I think...
What country would that be?
Yeah, what country is that?
Yeah, You have 3 guesses. Start.
3 guesses.
Italy?
It's in the UA, so you're in the European Union. You're close, yeah? But it's not Italy.
Well, then it must be Austria.
Very close. Almost there. Almost there.
Belgium.
Ah, sorry. No, you missed it. Right in between.
The moon.
Which country is it?
In Germany.
Come on, seriously. Be serious. There's no such place. What country are we talking about here?
There's no such place as Germany?
I'm teasing.
Where am I right now?
Corbania.
About Narnia? What do you mean, Narnia?
I have to open my cupboards to get out again. I see. Yeah, well, they are halting the sales in Germany, which is that
is terrible.
Probably concludes all that Oculus is offering, which will include the Quest and the CV1 and stuff, and the Rift S and stuff. And that's, it came probably up with the announcement that Facebook will force you to create a Facebook account to use Oculus devices.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
I don't think there's a lot of people that are happy about it necessarily, but it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, so you're not happy, but you cannot do anything about it?
You have two major choices right now. Well, kind of 3 choices for virtual reality headsets, like the 3 front runners. You've got, the G2 Reverb, which maybe, but that's definitely on the lower end because you're talking Windows mixed reality, and
correct.
They don't really have a lot of great track record with their tracking.
It's interject real quick, if you don't mind, real quick. Yeah, real quick. If you don't want to, it's not just, in my opinion, the mixed reality. It's the fact that there's now another thing in between you and Steam VR. It's just
true.
That's. I mean, the tracking can always be improved with firmware and other kind of things like that. But that, just like doing on an Oculus, I'm sorry, you gotta have that, and it's another thing between you and Steam VR, which is what controls the game. Reduce the middleman as much as possible. So I'm sorry, I wanted to comment on that. And that Chitty actually brought that up, Onion, by the way, in one of the questions that he was saying, had anybody heard about it, and that it's coming out very soon. And it is a very interesting headset. And if you can get your hands on one for relatively cheap price, I think it'd be an interesting toy. and maybe even stream worthy. But I still think if you want to hassle free and go for those extreme scores, you're going to need something that talks directly to the computer.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even with the CV1 and these 4 cameras, some of those top end high scoring maps in Beat Saber, it just can't keep up. Like it
Can be
can't
tough.
keep up. So we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see what that is.
but it's not only about the tracking; it's also about the controllers because they have all different shapes and the center of mass is different. And I think from what I've heard, the Oculus controllers are pretty convenient for playing high score maps with Beat Saber.
They are very convenient, but at the same time, the actual tracking frequency isn't as high as, say, the Index because of those Lighthouse 2.0 trackers.
I can agree to that. I mean,
it's just higher.
Yeah.
It's a hardware limitation. I mean, you're always going to hit hardware limitations. Like in some of the early days of first-person shooter gaming, 1,000 hertz mice were not very fast.
Oh yeah,
because you try and get some of those flick shots, and all of a sudden your mouse was spinning 360s for whatever reason. It's like, why is it doing that? In the early days of laser mice, so we'll always run into hardware limitations and things like that.
Gaming is pushing the hardware specifications.
Always.
There's also another industry that pushes hardware and technical improvements, but that's not what we are talking about today. We are talking about VR stuff. Yeah, that Facebook is going to force the account creation, and German laws don't probably fit together with that. Probably that's what the problem caused there to make them halt their sales in Germany. So,
but I would think that the German market is still big enough that in some kind of way they're going to fix the problems they're in at some point in time.
I just think the same. I mean, there are lots of Oculus users, even in the FeVR community, that are Germans. So I would expect them to find a solution. So, well, okay, in Germany, you don't have to use a Facebook account. Maybe, I don't know. But they should come up with the solution because I think the market is big enough to make a profit for them.
I think maybe the ultimate way to go, and this is just me speculating right off the top of my head, would be, yes, you do have to use your Facebook account. I'm sorry, but this Facebook account information is less required than a normal Facebook account. So if you're only creating it for Oculus, you don't need to have location data and all this other kind of stuff that your normal Facebook account would want. It's just name, a few identity things, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe they can loosen the requirements for that. Indeed, that would be possibly a solution. But I would imagine they think about that. They thought about that already. So it's a strange move that they announced they will halt the sales completely.
Very, very strange.
It's very interesting. Yeah.
But again, like I said, I think it will be subject to change at some point.
Yeah, but now the news is out, and that's what they announced. So they would have to do that vice versa, which is strange if a company announces something and then goes back. I don't know what the decision will be there. Either way, we have other news about Facebook as well. So there are several streaming platforms out there. It's not only Twitch, even though probably Twitch is the biggest and the most well-known, I would say.
Yep.
There are others. I mean, of course, there's YouTube. You can live stream too, but YouTube is more for the video on demand thing, I guess. But as Mixer has shut down, the former Microsoft-driven streaming platform with a very cool technology that was how was that called? FTL, faster than light, and that brought them a sub-second latency during streaming. And that technology is now more or less buried with the shutting down of Mixer, but they sent over their viewers and streamers over to Facebook game streaming. And now they are going to announce, or they have announced, the new guidelines for music streaming, which will come to effect with the 1st of October. And let me bring that up really quick because I have to read that out. It's in the link is in the show notes. We can share that maybe again. So the new guideline there is: you may not use videos on our products to create a music listening experience. That's the headline of that. I mean, FeVR community is playing a lot of music rhythm-based VR games. Are those a music listening experience?
Yes.
Okay, you are not able to play Beat Saber on Facebook anymore, I would say.
I understand that. It's brutal, but I think it will also kill their content creation.
Yeah,
I don't absolutely, Onion, and I don't want to do any type of company versus company here because they're both companies. Let's face it. But Twitch seems to have their streamers' backs. You know, even when it comes to the whole DCMA takedown in their clips, they were like, "Look, we got this. Just keep doing what you're doing. If it needs to be muted, we'll mute it. If it needs to be deleted, we'll delete it. Don't worry about it." That was very comforting. But looks like Facebook is going the other way. Basically, it's up to you. It's your content. If you screw yourself, then you got to deal with it. We're out.
So the interesting thing there is YouTube has their content ID system, which allows to monitorize the videos for the content, not for the content creators, but for the artists, which is, I think, a good way to get around that. So, I mean, on the one hand, you are showing off art that other created. And if they want to have a fraction of that because you're working with their work, that's totally fine, in my opinion. You are putting in some effort as well. So taking all of it of you is maybe, that's discussing worthy or whatever. So you can discuss about that, but at least you still can do what you do. There are, of course, some VODs that are completely blocked in certain countries or worldwide. It depends. You can then mute that part on the YouTube backend in the YouTube studio, which is okay. So there are ways that you can still do what you do, but some minor regulations. But you're not completely blocked out. But what Facebook is suggesting here is like, no, you're not allowed to play any music anymore. As soon as this is a music listening experience, and I think if you're just chatting and have music playing in your background, it is kind of a music listening experience. So I don't know how that will work out. I think it was meant for DJ streams in the first place, but looks like that because laws are difficult and they can be when it comes to applying laws, it's the intention the law was made for, and then how can this be interpreted as well? And that's mostly the thing where people are trying to sue other people and make money of that, which is then the worst case of how it could be used.
Yeah, there's a difference between the target of the law and the unintended consequences of the law.
Indeed.
Two different things.
Yeah, and that's very sad that Facebook is shutting down that because I don't know who's from FeVR community using that, but even though because most of us are affiliated on Twitch, that means after 24 hours, you might want to share your content on other platforms as well. And I think that would exclude now Facebook. And Facebook is still something a lot of people have an account for. So you cannot use that anymore. So it's a little bit interesting. I mean, okay, there are different alternatives, like you still have YouTube, and there's Trovo coming up now as a new streaming platform. Trovo is a new one.
Trovo?
Yeah, Trovo is backed by Tencent, so unlimited money. Let's see what they are coming up with.
So it's TikTok, okay.
TikTok for streamers?
Is TikTok for streamers? No, right? Is it?
Streaming platform. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just having fun.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know that before. I just read about that, I think, yesterday, or was it even today?
That's the first I've heard of it. First
Yeah,
I've heard of it.
it's new, but it's there, and maybe that's a piece of news that a lot of people didn't know about. So I was surprised by that because as I'm using Restream, I tried to broadcast to Facebook as well, but I think not those games anymore.
It's frustrating.
Yeah, it is. Okay, right. So that has been happening in the VR. That's more for streamers, though. That's more the streaming area. Gaming news. What about gaming news? I didn't put any things in there, but as I said, I was surprised that Pistol Whip does have now achievements. But apparently, you didn't play that yet, and get onto the achievement hunt.
No, haven't gotten back to it yet.
Yeah.
So rough on the knees. It's really, that game is so rough on the knees. And I guess there's a new game mode too, isn't there?
Is there?
They have some new maps, but a new game mode.
Yeah, I thought there was a new modifier or something that they added in.
The only thing I know is that you don't get a penalty anymore when you use dual wield weapons. So you can have both, but you don't get a penalty. Because before there was a penalty, because it's more tricky to just use one gun except of two.
A little bit.
But yeah, no penalty there anymore. And meanwhile, I think it's easier to use just one gun instead of two, because aiming with one.
Weird that they docked your points on that.
Yeah, aiming with one is a little bit easier than with two, because with one you can use your other hand to stabilize your weapon there.
Yeah.
Synth Riders had some updates recently. Let's talk about those. Who is playing Synth Riders?
I haven't played in a while. It's been a while.
The first thing that the update did for me was break everything. I actually haven't gotten back to fixing it.
What broke?
The Twitch integration, for some reason. I started it up right after the update. And most people didn't have the same issue that I did. I just didn't have any time to fix it at the time, and I haven't gotten back to it yet.
Oh, that's too bad.
So no, unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to play the new update.
Yeah, it's for me it worked out of the box, and for me working out of the box is special, you know. Because normally I would have to adjust things here and there, but no, that was not the case. So they integrated, for example, if you don't know that yet, the spin mod. That's now out for quite a while, and they had some updates. The latest Twitch
360 version.
Yeah, there are different spin modes, and the cool thing about that is, but I think that we talked about last time already, but never mind. The cool thing there is it works with all maps, so you don't have to have special maps that are working with the spin mode. It works for every map. Right. You can just enable it, and you can say what you want to have, like 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 360 degrees, or 360 plus. And there is even another modifier that is the wilderness. So if it goes up and down as well, not only left and right, so you can also have it going up and down, and that's pretty cool. You have to try that if you haven't yet. Get Synth Riders, get onto Synth Riders again. Also, I realized, because when I was...
need to.
Yes, indeed. I realized Beat Saber is very taxing on your wrists, and Synth Riders isn't. And if you have minor issues with your arms, then switch to Synth Riders. You'll get an equally exhausting workout, but it will be a little bit more handsome, a little bit more less taxing on your hands.
My forearms have been killing me lately playing games like Beat Saber and actually playing Township Tale, chopping trees.
I was going to say Township Tale might be the actual...
yeah. I mean, both those games were just wrists and arms just flailing, and
but due to your normal regiment, only Township Tale has been increased, and Beat Saber has been kind of decreased. But now that the pain is coming right, so I think it's probably more of a Township Tale thing.
I could give you that either way, maybe.
But yeah, you do a lot of physical moves in Township Tale where it's trying to recreate the actual movement of the of the task at hand, which is both
true,
fun
true.
and
There's some gaming news actually.
Yeah.
In a Township Tale in the last maybe it's the last month.
A
Okay, go
small
ahead,
interruption
what?
there. I don't know anything about Township Tales.
Township Tale is kind of an open world crafting and adventuring game where you can go out with a party of your friends and you can delve into the depths of the mines so that you can find more and more useful resources so that you can bring it back and you can craft custom weapons and backpacks and things like that in order to go off into different places in the lands. And it's currently early access, so I can't really say much more about it than that because there isn't much more about it than that just yet. um, Essentially the game is designed to be kind of like Dungeons and Dragons with your friends, where the DM is literally just the game itself, throwing random situations at you and procedurally generated areas that are unique on each server. We've been having a lot of fun with that. One of the big updates that they just released recently, though, in the last month or so, maybe it's the last month and a half. I'm not entirely sure on the timeline, but they released the Forest update, which was a huge content update. Um, Basically, before you could delve into the mines and you could go down 100 levels, and there was a televator to build that you could get to different levels of the mines pretty easily. This new update added about 10 times as much content, a bunch of new enemies, a bunch of new game mechanics and scenarios that you can run into with your party. Um, and then they kind of surprised everyone with this most recent update in the last week or so, the climbing update, which adds this huge tower off in the distance. And we had a great time having an adventure to get to the tower. It took us 4.5 or 5 hours to get all the way out there, and then we went through some craziness. And as you were mentioning earlier, basically the Beat Saber aspect of the game, chopping up 500 worth of trees, and we just went ham with the pickaxes. But once we got to the tower, the climbing mechanic is very difficult. It's very challenging. I'm looking forward to being able to use it, but like, oh goodness, just the content updates for this game, it's amazing. And if you haven't checked out A Township Tale, be sure to go townshiptale.com and get all the info right there. It's free. I highly recommend, if you can afford it, doing a subscription. It's like $10 a month or something like that, and it helps motivate or helps move the development of the game forward. And it's just, I will promote this game all day long because I think it's amazing. Hashtag not sponsored. It's just, I love this game. I love it.
Right on. It is a good looking game.
So is it also available, like, I mean, how can you play that? For which headsets? Is it on Steam?
Anything that works with a Steam VR headset or Oculus Home natively, you can play Township Tale with it. So, Quest over Link, CV1, Rift S, Vive, Index, all of them. And you get the added bonus with the Index of having actual hand motions.
Oh,
By
cool.
the way, no legs allowed. No legs. Hashtag no legs crew. Because I just can't see streaming that game in mixed reality with legs. It looks goofy.
Now, when he does stream it, he has on green leggings, so it keys out his legs. So he floats.
I don't have legs.
Right.
I removed them temporarily for the stream.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. It's.
I did not know. I did not know. I
Yeah.
did not know.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, nice.
Which makes me wonder: would the cyber shoes be really useful in that situation? If you're streaming a game.
So is that the transition to the next?
That's nice segue. Nice segue. I like that. Nice segue.
Yeah.
The next thing to talk about maybe is peripherals that can be used for or in VR. So they help you like moving around or getting a better immersion. And one thing that's coming up are the cyber shoes, indeed. And I just recently saw that, and it's like you put on shoes that have some how's that called? Rolls? Is it a roll? Or what is that?
Rollers, yeah.
Rollers on below them, and when you move your feet around the floor, while you are sitting on your chair, it will be registered as a movement in VR. So, I mean, this will probably be a different kind of workout, I'd say, because those muscles you're using then are not used that much, even in your normal life, I would say.
Yeah, this looks very strange. It's basically the scoot motion that you use when you're having a race with office chairs. Scoot,
Exactly.
scoot, scoot. Yeah, it's an office chair racing training module in VR, I think.
Oh, okay.
I think there's a market for this. Definitely a market for this.
I think there is a market for it. But ultimately, I think probably a majority of the VR community. Sure. Yeah, I think the majority of the VR community are going to really want and wait for some sort of true movement versus. I mean, that's a whole nother moving mechanic to learn. I mean, point and click and zoom around. That's very easy because it translates over to almost a pancake gaming. But I don't know. To me, while there is a lot of interesting and fun there, I just can't see it as a popular transition to, hey, let's all do this. Yeah, I just don't see that.
It definitely looks like a niche kind of product, and it'll help some people with accessibility. Imagine some people who have difficulty standing and playing VR. This might be a viable option for them.
And don't get me wrong,
accessibility options in VR are great.
Absolutely. Don't get me wrong, I might buy a pair. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're gonna be fun to play with. I just don't see it's gonna catch on. Yeah,
exactly. Like you're saying, it's just not. It doesn't seem practical for everyday use for most situations.
Yeah, well, VR is a niche already, so a niche within a niche.
True.
Very true.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a new input device.
Niche.
Nicheception. Oh god, what a hard word. Gosh. Yeah, but it would be a different kind of input then, and I think it will be interesting for sure. I mean, there is on the homepage, if you have a look, it's cybershoes.io. If you have a look at the video that they are showing there while somebody is sitting on the chair and moving with his leg and the chair is spinning around. So I don't know how that will feel in VR, because I remember from some games, if you have locomotion, for example, there are two ways normally you can move in VR games that are not games where the environment moves all the time, like it does typically in those rhythm VR games like Pistol Whip, Synth Riders, O-Shape, and Beat Saber. There you are standing more or less and the environment moves and you are standing on a platform, so you don't have to move. But in other games, for example, like Boneworks or Half-Life Alyx or the Solus Project, those are more the transition from a pancake game into VR. For example, the Solus Project was first a pancake game and VR was added later, so there the connection is even closer. But Half-Life Alyx and Boneworks have been VR games from the start, so the movement there was made for VR. And still, you mostly have two ways of movement. One is teleport or dash, depending on how it's visualized. In fact, you point somewhere, you click there, your character jumps over there. And there are two ways to visualize this. One way is to make your screen black for a millisecond or for a short amount of time, just like a blink. And the other one is a dash, where the position you want to come out is zooming at you. So you're jumping there, it's a teleport. And the other one is locomotion, where you are using your more or less analog stick on your controller and point into that direction and where you want to go. And the world is pulled under your feet. And for me, that's very strange. It takes a little bit time to get used to it, and sometimes my stomach won't like that. And sometimes my stomach will get used to it and adapt. But this kind of movement then, where you have a feedback and you are moving the world with your feet and it has a direct translation because you do steps or something like that, that might be something that's more convenient.
Can you imagine how powerful you must feel? I am moving the world.
It's like, I made fire. Now I move the world.
Okay, world moves real slow. Oh shit, I'm gonna spin the world up. Everyone's getting sick. Everyone's getting real sick down there.
Especially if you try to stream that and look down all the time. That will be strange.
Lord. Oh no.
But yeah, I could imagine that this is something that has a more direct feedback on the movement. Because you are doing it step by step. Yeah. And with the locomotion, you are just pushing forward and then something happens. But with the steps, you're really doing steps step by step. And if you want to be faster, you have to do faster steps. So yeah, that might be something that's interesting.
No, you're right. There is a real connect there. Uh-huh.
They have things like the VR glove and haptics, which are hand immersion.
Yeah.
The same idea. You got, feet, but more hand immersion than I guess the index controllers, kind of.
That was an interesting thing I heard when they were talking about, because I would imagine that having VR glass would be the most immersive thing in VR ever. Because you would have finger tracking easily because you will have the sensors in your gloves and stuff, and moving fingers and grabbing stuff, etc. Maybe even with force feedback or whatever. But having glass would be the first idea I would have to touch things in VR. But apparently there was people have been interviewed, and there was a big, how's that called? If you do market share research stuff. So polls and stuff. So they ask a lot of people, and they were surveys indeed, and they were trying that out. Say again, please.
What was that, Onion?
It says survey says.
Survey says. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, and it looks like they did a lot of research, and looks like people are uncomfortable with gloves in VR, and that's why they came up with controllers and not with VR gloves. Maybe that's changing now as VR is becoming more and more popular. I think that's a thing nobody can deny.
Well, I think thinking about that, maybe it's just this weird thing that people have about clothing. Because if people would share jewelry, for example, they would, share jewelry and not think twice of it, but you wouldn't just share shoes. Like,
oh yeah, toothbrush.
That doesn't seem to me to be kind of yeah, well, okay, that's a little bit more personal than shoes. But like along those same lines, and controllers are something you hold on to and you don't wear. And I think maybe that's the strange distinction that we have between those two.
What they found out was the interconnection, if that makes sense. So you would have a kind of distance with gloves. With gloves, you are not touching the real world. And in VR, you are already not anymore in the real world. And then wearing gloves would put another distance level inside, and looks like people weren't comfortable with that. So that's what
eventually we'll have something that's like that just fits onto the palm of your hand and does all the things that a glove would. Because then it still feels like a controller, but it's providing haptic feedback and force feedback motion too. Maybe we'll end up with something like that.
Yeah, maybe there are different ideas, but gloves in general that are classical gloves probably are uncomfortable for people, at least in VR. I mean, if it's cold outside, of course you put on gloves, but wearing those during your normal gameplay, that's something different.
I would think that the glove, a large part of the pushback on gloves would be overcame with tipless gloves. That way they still have complete tactile touch on things, which, I think once you've done that, I think you're probably going to get a lot more people accepted, and that's easily done. I mean, heck, you could have pretty much just a strap with some sort of receiver on the top and back of your hand to get full finger and hand motion, much like the index controller does. And that's it. Be done with it. But I think the whole glove thing might end up being ultimately a better option. But like I said, if it's only fingertipless, and just to double back real quick to the locomotion in VR. Helix VR pointed out that, and I've seen Onion try this before. The arm swing is becoming more popular as
Also
a
known
form
as
of locomotion.
Pro Loco.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Pro
swinging
Loco.
your arms back and forth like you were walking is actually what's going to move you forward. And again, it
grabbing
looks
the ground and throwing it behind you, kind of thing.
that too. Yeah, that too as well. That's also becoming more popular in the games, but I haven't seen it more popular with the players yet.
Very true.
Yep.
Okay, but not only for the hands you can have more devices, you can also have other devices that will help making games more immersive. And another one is a belt that is being crowdfunded on Indiegogo right now, if that's still the case.
Yep.
The Feel Belt, immersive entertainment for you. And they advertise that as something you can wear in VR. And I think there have been different approaches to that. There's also a haptic vest, if I remember correctly.
There is.
The TT vest. It's not Turbo or Tower Tag. It's something else. I forget exactly. But they seem to have kind of jumped on the Tesla suit marketing bandwagon somehow and went astride them because it's a haptic suit versus an electrostatic feedback suit. So you've got the TT. Is it Haptex? I forget exactly which company it is, but we've got the feedback suit and then the Tesla suit, which is really interesting. Also, I threw that on the list.
V-Haptics, that's the one?
V-Haptics, yeah, that one.
Yep.
Okay, Tech suit.
Yes.
I mean,
so V-Haptics Tech suit is basically a bunch of vibration motors all over it that achieve the haptic feedback, whereas the Tesla suit uses electrodes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Getting some electroshocks with while playing Tower Tag.
A little bit. It's getting pretty sci-fi out there. Pretty sci-fi.
What a great time to be alive.
Right? It's just, if only we had the funding for it.
Yeah, so that belt is probably maybe a little bit more convenient and more affordable than a complete vest. I don't know.
Yeah.
But having more feedback, even though the VR controllers are giving you a little bit of feedback with rumble, so in Beat Saber, when you slash the blocks, you feel a haptic feedback. I think the more you hit,
it's amazing.
Yeah,
how much immersion that actually provides.
The interesting thing about that, it's just rumble. At least your brain knows it's just a rumble. But you totally know exactly when you did not hit that special block. Okay, the rumble is missing, I didn't hit. And I think even the closer you are to the middle of the block, the more intense the rumble is. Is that correct? I don't know if you can feel that even. But in Synth Riders, there is at least a level of vibration, the better you hit, I think.
That makes sense.
So the interaction with hitting blocks, nodes that are coming towards your face, and you have to either slash with the sabers in Beat Saber or touch with the fears on your hand, that feedback is very needed, I think. And having more feedback will just improve the immersion. It can only get better. Because having feedback only on your hands, then your brain still has to translate that a little bit to feedback. I mean, of course, you are acting with your hands more or less all the time. But having different feedback, for example, when you are walking around and in Half-Life Alyx, for example, when you walk around and you are hitting a wall, how would you translate that feedback to your body? On your hands only? But having a belt that says, okay, you feel like, okay, there's a rumble while I cannot move forward and have a feedback there, that should, of course, increase the immersion, I guess.
I would think
it would at least translate to something in your mind. Sorry, Chad, go ahead.
No, I would think so. I was done. Yeah, I was just agreeing.
And I see it's made in Germany. I didn't see that before.
He likes it.
That's the first time I see that. I didn't pay attention to that. I just had a look at the video and stuff, and that's all. And I think that might be something that's interesting for VR. And I just now read, oh, hey, it's Germany. Oh, okay, made in Germany.
Yeah, this it's really interesting that they have a just a belt solution for that. I wouldn't have thought simplifying it that much would be attractive, but now that you mention it, that would be really useful for directional feedback at the very least. Because you got if you have motion with your hands, and you can have feedback with anything you're touching or anything you need to throw or things like that. But then with the belt, it would give you a little bit more directional feel, and even maybe like where you're taking damage from with like pulses or things like that.
Hmm. Okay, but I see we have some more entries here now. Like
yeah, oh yeah, VR.
Yeah, VR. What's that?
Yeah, VR is fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah, VR is basically a sit-in. You sit down inside it, and it has a motor. Think of an eggshell, half an eggshell on a base.
It's
and
a
that
low-cost motion simulator.
Right. That eggshell that you're sitting in can spin, pivot, tilt, however your vehicle that you might. It's a vehicle motion simulator, not a personal locomotion simulator. So
I mean, you put a platform on top of it and make it a wobble motion.
Oh, I see somebody.
Anyway, that's true. But yeah, so that's what it's all about. And it has you of course, you like Onion was mentioning earlier, you throw in a HOTUS on there, so you have foot and hand control, and you're boom, now you're out in your flight simulators are full air. You feel the air resistance against the plane, the whole shebang, right there in that simulator. Of course, if you're out in space, the only time you're going to feel anything, if you're in a space simulator, the only time you're going to feel anything is if you get shot or something, because there's no air resistance in space. So, like Elite Dangerous, you're not going to feel as much as you might feel in Flight Sim 2020. You know.
But that's really interesting. Wow.
I really want one of these for the upcoming squadrons, and to try with Elite Dangerous, and just the fact that it's so inexpensive for what it does, that like they really nailed the price point on that.
Wow.
What, 1,500?
Yeah.
For
$1,490.
Yeah, $1,500 for the really nice version that has everything built into it that you need. Like, if you're just gonna get a racing chair, why not just spend a little bit extra and grab this instead? Because I mean, the possibilities of what you're going to experience in this chair versus something that's static, that's going to cost you nearly as much. Just saying.
The only obvious difference between those two would be one is going to require maintenance and repair and parts and future costs.
Yeah,
one is just boom, done, put it there and leave it alone. But one is vastly more fun than the other as well. So I still agree with your point.
It does look like it takes up a little bit more space too. You have that 360-degree consideration. So probably a good 12 to let's see, that's probably get about 6 to 8 feet circle. Yeah, so 6 to 8 foot circle. Get away with it.
That's a really interesting toy. So the older you get, the more expensive the toys.
Oh, very true. Very true.
But could you imagine something like this?
It's a training tool.
In the early 90s, or I mean, there's no way the consumer would be able to afford this technology in the early 90s if it was available then. So yeah. I mean, it's while the toys do get more expensive, they're getting cheaper and cheaper too every day.
Okay, I didn't see that at all. Is it still fundable on Kickstarter, or is it already successful?
It's already been successful, and will be coming out eventually very soon. One's already out.
I see. It was funded on Kickstarter. I see. Mm-hmm. Oh, cool. So that means maybe even the first people got one already. Because normally when Kickstarter is done, those backers get the first versions. That's really cool. We'll have to have an eye out of that, for that. Words are hard. Cool. Okay, we have something now for hands. We have something for the belt. We have something for our butt to sit in.
Yes.
What else do we have? Because I saw there are some more entries now for VR peripherals. What's the next one? The Tesla suit. I see.
That's what Onion was mentioning earlier. Yeah. Cat VR is the treadmill, right? They have a new version out as well. It's your standing, running locomotion treadmill style, much like you saw in Ready Player One, which eventually will probably be the ultimate locomotion simulator. Would be some sort of platform that it is completely responsive to every minutia of human movement, which is damn near impossible. I would say is impossible to get that fine of detail. But to me, I think that's the ultimate goal. And Cat VR and other treadmill companies are trying to get there. So heck yeah.
So on my chat, B&O mentions that Linus Tech Tips has tested the Jaw VR a few months ago.
Yes,
so cool. I didn't know that. I didn't see that. So I will put the link in our Discord channel, and we will have to put that later on the comment section below on the info for the YouTube video. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Right on.
We were just talking about the Tesla suit there.
Yeah, I'd be really excited to actually try one of those, see what the experience is like. Just as I understand it, the whole suit is lined with electrodes on the inside. So they can control all of the electrodes from a phone app, or they can control it from a game with integration built into it. So, like, if you get shot, then it'll light up those electrodes wherever you got shot. So you'd be like, oh, and just get a little shock from it, or basically a muscle spasm.
It reminds me a little bit of what was that movie? Starship Troopers, when they play around with like laser tag. They get electro-shocked with the hits on their tactile suits. So that's really, I mean, that movie was in the future, and now we are getting there. So we can see how training, military training, will be in the future.
Yeah, wow, it's crazy how sci-fi literature from the turn of the century, 19th century.
Those guys sometimes are really ahead of their time, and then it comes all true.
Yeah, vid screens. Well, what are we watching right now? So that's a vid screen. It's a flat display.
Okay, so I think I didn't check the latest entries here on the list, but we are getting to gloves again. Precision hand and finger tracking. That's the VR glove. Oh, that's pronounced.
Yep. Haptex is also another solution very similar to that, like we were talking about earlier. There's the Manus VR glove, and Haptex, 3 different hand tracking solutions for
So that kind of neglects a little bit what I said before. Maybe they did some more research, and gloves are now fine in VR.
I mean,
I think the initial gloves were going to be huge gloves.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have a look at the haptX gloves, which is haptx.com, they are pretty huge.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't see how big your gloves are when you have your headset on. You just care about the haptics feedback. And if you have tactile feedback when you are touching things and you cannot like crush it because you feel there is something between your fingers, that's something, then you don't care anymore how big that glove is.
So I think the VR glove looks like it's pretty promising. Like, this appears to have some kind of module on the back.
I think that's used for the force feedback.
Yeah. And
or for the haptic feedback.
If you take a look at the image on the site, there's a wire that comes off of the thumb. It looks like that's some of the force feedback. Like, it's they use wires to pull your fingers back. I think that's probably a really effective way to do it.
Yeah, that's when you try to touch things and you have something in between. Then the distance you are not allowed to touch your fingers because there has to be something that's in between. And the one idea is just to not let your finger move forward anymore.
Yeah, seeing that little haptic feedback adapter on the back of the glove there is, and what Helix VR just said in the
Discord
stream is that it could, you add something like that to a Pro Tube whenever you're playing Beat Saber, so you actually get true haptic feedback on a Pro Tube. That'd be very interesting to mod add-on for the Pro Tube to get haptic feedback on it. That'd be interesting.
So yeah, the immersion is getting deeper and deeper. It's really interesting to see.
Is it already out? I'm sorry, I could be
the haptic glove. I see the development kit, but I don't see where I can buy it yet.
Yeah.
It's haptx.com, but I don't see where I can buy it. Early access, so probably it's not out yet.
Yeah, there's 3 different links there for different devices that do essentially the same thing.
I could have misunderstood Helix. Just want to make sure. He could be saying it's already out. Haptics for the Pro Tube. I don't see it. Maybe it is.
5 pounds strong force for a finger. Oof, VR
glove. But from from what we see here, it's really just a matter of time until we can get a full immersion in a virtual world, I guess. So that's not taking that much longer. The fidelity is becoming better and better, so we get more and more high-res displays. So you don't see the lines and the pixels anymore in your headset, even though that hasn't been a thing for me that much either way, because the immersion, you totally go up in VR after a while, even though if you see the pixels in the beginning. But of course, if you have a headset with higher resolution, it's getting more and more immersive, and I think the index resolution is already pretty great, but there are upcoming headsets will have more resolution, and there will be like how's it called, retina displays for VR soon, I guess.
Retina displays,
retina, and if you then have those suits with your feet moving or getting acceleration feeling in that seat there, or having tactile feedback on your hands while touching stuff, so you really feel you have something, an object in your hand, the immersion is almost perfect. So
very true.
That will be interesting how that will affect our lives.
For me, I think because I've never flown a plane before, I'm excited for Flight Sim 2020 to go VR, because I think while I don't currently have a HOTAS, and I will get one, from just playing the Flight Sim as it is, pancake mode with the Move Master, I think that is something that I could easily adapt and still enjoy. It won't be true motion of flying a plane, but because I've never actually flown a plane and I've always used a keyboard and mouse type setup to fly planes, it will just be a different way of flying a different type of plane, for me, but still be incredibly immersed and have that no need to actually look at a keyboard and feel things. Just put my hands down, put my headset on, and go to town. So I'm actually excited about Flight Sim to be able to do that. I don't want to try and do this in ED because it's just such a big, huge game, so many options and confusing. And I get a little derpy every time I try and play.
Let's fly together in Elite Dangerous. Elite Dangerous is you can do everything you like, and
I know that's just it. I give you everything.
Yeah, but getting into it just takes small steps. And Elite Dangerous is a great game, which is ED in short. And I think also just to give a little bit of context for our viewers who are not insiders yet, HOTAS is abbreviation for hands-on throttle and stick. That means it's a joystick with a special add-on which is like a throttle, which is used in flight simulators. So you have the joystick to do your movement, which is mostly do the roll and pitch. I think is that or jaw? What is it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Jaw and pitch, and for acceleration you have that throttle. And that's why it's the abbreviation for that is HOTAS, and that's used mostly for flight simulators and space simulations. That's pretty cool. And also, Life mentioned the Move Master. That's a device probably not everybody has heard of yet. That's a replacement for the keyboard, where you have your hand on a grip, and what the Move Master does, it's in fact a USB keyboard with a smarter way how the keys are arranged. So you're steering on your keyboard in Pancake games normally WASD with 3 of your fingers, and the Move Master puts that movement onto your palm. And then you can just move with your palm WASD and have your fingers free. So just everybody knows what devices we are talking about.
Right. Also, I want to double back to what Helix VR was saying earlier. I misunderstood. There actually is for the gun stock of ProTube, there is a haptic feedback add-on already. And this is news to me. I did not know about this. I myself don't play that many first-person shooters, but I do like to watch a few of the guys play them out there. And that's interesting. Is really interesting. I think that would be a whole nother level to the game as well.
Is that
to clear that up?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the add-on for the ProTube gun stock.
Okay.
You put your Vive controllers or equipment in there, and so now you have an actual gun.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. Oh dear.
Yep.
Anything
that looks really cool, though. I'm sorry, that makes it all that much more interesting for me to try and actually get into some first-person shooters.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, I think we covered a lot of the VR peripherals right now, and there's one bullet point still in that's probably that doesn't belong in there because that should have been its own. I will put that a little bit down here. We have also, as FeVR is not only about playing VR games and showing them, it's about streaming VR games, of course, or streaming games which are happening in VR. It's not only rhythm-based games, it's also other games. Mostly VR, of course. And one thing that I'd like to talk a little bit about is the interaction with viewers while streaming. And there are several ways to do that. And Lyfesaver is streaming Beat Saber a lot, and he has some nice integrations. And you want to talk about a little bit about that scene selection you have there, and the swapping between those,
Right, the camera actually with for those of y'all who already know, we use Live to do mixed reality and avatar. A lot of us do. Some of us don't. I won't drop any names, but because not fault of their own, no fault of their own, but anyway, we use Live, and they allow for multiple camera profiles, and to switch between them was the ability to switch between them in the background without having to click a button was added back in version 1.0, kind of as an API call type sort of setup, where that's pretty much what I utilize is this profile switching. So if you have more than one camera, and doesn't all have to be webcams. One could be a video captured with the HDMI. If you have more than one camera, you can have more than one profile. Even if you have the same camera, you can have more than one profile. One is maybe more zoomed more in, one zoomed more out, however it might be. And with an API call, you can switch between them. So in my challenge mode, whenever I do challenges, some people ask me to explain how I do this. It's not something that I would probably ever go back to and show on my stream, as I do with other things. I like to show how to do it. So this one, It's basically you have an API call and you have a script that your bot can run that makes that API call for you, and it changes from one camera to the other camera profile. And I don't mind, explaining how it's done. It's a little too detailed for this environment here, but that's mainly how you're able to achieve it, is to tell Liv to switch camera profiles, and then to switch back, of course, when need be. It's not the actual instructions on how to switch, or in their very first blog post when they went out to release version 1.0, when they finally came out of what's it called? Beta, yeah. Sorry. Thank you. No, it wasn't beta. It was the in Steam. What's it called? Early access. Thank you. When it came out of early access.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, thank you, Mr. Live Producer. Yes, early access. But yeah, so I just wanted to mention that. A lot of people have asked about that, and that's just not something I would probably cover again anytime soon. But if anybody does want to know.
So you use your channel points and your some of your channel rewards things to trigger different things in your OBS in order to add some entertainment value to your stream.
Yep. And I mean, there are some VR ways to actually take the channel points and have an effect with VR. For example, this is one very easy, straightforward way to do it, is if you have, let's say, the Nate's channel point app and the missed text mod, you can add your name via the channel points, and now your name will show up inside the game Beat Saber whenever they miss a note randomly. So there's, I mean, that's direct, take it from the stream and put it right inside the VR game, which very much similar to the way that StreamerKit does it with Liv.
Yeah, awesome.
But this is now using channel point app. So absolutely.
Just to give
something like,
go ahead, Onion.
Yeah. Just to give some more context here, because everybody expects probably, because that's so common that everybody is using Twitch and knows what kind of interactions are there. So Twitch, as a live streaming platform, has a special offer for affiliates and partners to give a reward or something back to the viewers, or give an opportunity to integrate the viewers a little bit more into the stream, and that's they can collect channel points just by watching and being interactive in chat. They get a reward for that, and those are channel points. I don't think that other streaming platforms have that. I mean, there are different ways to get that. For example, Streamlabs, which is a page that helps you to get overlays and alerts and stuff displayed on your stream. But they also support different streaming platforms. For example, YouTube and formerly Mixer and Facebook, I think even. And they have their own loyalty system. And channel points are Twitch's integrated own loyalty system. And you can use, of course, those points as redemption for different events you can trigger then on the stream. And Twitch has integrated the channel points thing. And we have in our community Nate, who is very active in creating cool stuff for us streamers. And one of that things that he created is the channel points redemption tool. And that gives you the opportunity to turn those points into interactions in your stream. And that's what Life is talking about. Just for the other streamers who are also listening and watching the FeVR podcast.
What you talking about? What
Nate's great.
What is this thing that Nate made? What is this channel points thing?
Right. It's if anyone does need access to any of Nate's software, just let me know. But I do know that Onion is also trying to do some channel point stuff with Township Tale.
Yeah. There's well, I realized a few days ago, and this is just a few days old, last week Tuesday, that there are libraries that you can put together to gain access to Twitch chat, the Twitch channel points, and a Township Tale on the back end. so you can do all the admin commands and things. And I realized that if I hook those three things up, I can make anything I want happen in a township tale. And so what I'm currently working on is the ability to redeem channel points to start spawning enemies or items or just any number of helpful or nasty things that we can think of. So it's just completely random. So for 500 channel points, since you've been around for so long, you get a random effect, and that random effect could just be 10 enemies dropping in right now.
So I think that even Liv showed how integration of getting the viewers integrated into the stream will work with their game changer mod for Beat Saber. I think that was the very first thing, at least for VR games. There have been other games that had Twitch integration already, and mostly it's Twitch integration. I haven't seen many games that have like YouTube integration or Facebook integration, but most of them have Twitch integration.
Yeah. Liv had Mixer for a while.
Did.
You know, they did. So.
Oh, and I did not know that. Dang it. But yeah, okay. Mixer is a thing of the past.
What Mixer? What is that?
It's very sad that Mixer got shut down, because that FTL technology was really a cool thing. It was. It would like you would when you was. Sorry for the off-topic thing.
Sure.
But when you were watching your own stream on Mixer while streaming, it was like you would have a second monitor, because the latency was so low, you could see your actions immediately. You don't have to wait like you would have to on Twitch or YouTube for 1 or 2 seconds. I mean, 1 or 2 seconds are fine. That's still pretty interactive. But having it like sub-second, only half a second or even less, that's amazing. The only thing where I've seen that is Discord. Discord streaming is pretty on point with their latency as well.
Where's that technology when we want to do wireless index at 144 hertz? Come on. Where is it?
But yeah, I think that Liv did the first VR integration with their Game Changer mod, and that now inspires more and more. For example, did we speak about or did we get around that the update in Synth Riders that had the invaders now coming?
Invaders.
Oh yeah, the invaders are fun.
That's also how integration into the viewers getting integrated and active in the VR game can look like. And in Synth Riders, while you are on your platform, slashing or hitting those balls, those spheres, viewers can spawn invaders with the invaders command, and then some alien spaceships are flying around, up to 3, not more, and they try to shoot at you. Not fast. You still have time then to either evade them or to catch those bullets with your controllers. But yeah, that's interaction that the viewers can have with your game then. And
I think it was a great addition to Synth Riders. Personally, I think that was a great idea.
Yeah, either way, integrating viewers into your game, it's the best thing. I mean, that's the whole streaming thing is about, having an interactive entertainment. That's what it separates it from television. Television is just video on demand, and not even on your demand. It's when they want to broadcast it.
I don't know, Corbin, if you had access to this show or the network even, but Chad, do you remember some of the crazy zany like live action shows they had on like Nickelodeon? One in particular that was called Legends of the Hidden Temple, where it was a kind of an audience interactive physical puzzle game where they would go.
Vaguely familiar.
Yeah. They'd have these different scenes that they would set up in front of a studio audience, and it would be like an obstacle course that they had to go through in different pieces. And it just makes me keep thinking, when are we're gonna get to this point in virtual reality soon. But when are we going to hit that point with the interactive media and like even allowing like contestants to come on to a show, for example, kind of like that old school format where, it would be a battle for the best score in this really simplistic game. but it would be on a green screen stage, and they would have actual people doing this. We could do this in real time now with some
Sure.
of the technologies and games that we have available to us. I'm just waiting, like when's someone going to pull a trigger on that one?
I would imagine that it's already being worked on in some form or fashion.
Like a Wipeout VR type game.
Yeah, I think the same. I think that's already that's coming eventually, because streaming is becoming more and more popular. Even though getting success on streaming platforms is getting more and more difficult now because of more and more people are streaming. But having helping you there, I think the interaction of viewers with your stream, that's something that will help the streamer a lot. I mean, I've seen, for example, in at least for the Game Changer mod and for the Invaders, you can tie that even for a kind of monetarization that can be bound together. The Invaders you can just trigger by command. You can toggle that as you like.
I think the optional monetization for a lot of the things is very helpful to certain people's streams who need that monetization thrown in there.
Yeah. It's a nice benefit. It's a nice tip. That's pretty cool.
We're kind of busking on this platform, right? I think we talked about that a little bit in the first podcast, but it's essentially a busking platform as much as it is a free form. Well, this is my job now, so this is what I do, and I entertain people. What do I do to do that? And how do I make money? A little bit of money doing that. How do I keep it entertaining for everyone? Like, it's a lot of topics we could branch off into just with streaming in general.
I mean, there are, of course, different kinds of getting people interactive with your stream, not only those VR interactions. I mean, like Live did it with the showing your name on screen, etc. Even though I would be now interested, how does that work that if you miss a note in Beat Saber, the name of the viewer, I mean, for bombs, I know how that works, but how does that work for the miss notification? Is that something Nate developed? Do you have a special Game Changer mod?
No, I mean, yes, it is something that Nate developed, it absolutely, but it's not. They're inside the Nook where all of his other apps are, is the mod itself. But basically, they took the miss text and just allowed the creation in real time, because the initial mod only changes on loading of the game. Whatever is in that text file, whatever text you have in that missed text file, it's loaded when you load the game, and that's it. So it needs to check that file and have some real-time feedback, so that when someone adds their name via the channel point handler, it's automatically registered. So that was what needed to be, and that version is the same exact mod, but just has that ability added to it.
Ah, cool. Yeah, those things are, of course, who doesn't want to play with a streamer, huh?
Right, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's why I have so many different integration things with Twitch directly too, because they got that nice overlay that you can integrate with your game, and viewers can interact with your game directly with a panel. It's just built right onto your overlay.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. So I think we are getting to an end here. We have discussed at least the topics we had on our agenda, so to speak.
I do want to say one more thing. Helix pointed out that Rico's Fragments is an interactive, I think I said that right, is an interactive VR game where the viewers, your viewers actually control the jump scares.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible.
It absolutely sounds horrible, and I can't wait to try it.
The things we do for you people.
It's all to entertain you.
Absolutely. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Right?
Okay. Do you have to add something more? Or are we getting to an end here?
I think we are. Tiddy actually might have streamed Tiddy VR Live. He actually might have streamed that game. It does sound familiar. But yeah, it does sound horrible, but I can't wait to try it at some point as well too. Oof. But yeah, I think that's all the questions I see listed from our chat here.
All right, then let's get to an end here. So You can follow us, because last time I totally mentioned all our social media stuff. So go and I don't know, where do I have to point when my camera is wrong, on the wrong side? Do I have to point over there to get
the direction?
Is it now correctly for you?
I'm pointing at you.
I want to point to Cypher Orion, who is streaming on Cypher Orion Twitch channel. And maybe you have Twitter as well. We should totally get those. It's also Cypher Orion, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
And go and check out their channels, as well as Lyfesaver's, which is Lyfesaver74. He's streaming on Twitch, I think every day. I
don't know how
on twitch.tv/Lyfesaver74.
Quickly, that's how I do it.
Quickly.
In and out.
And he's on. Are you on Twitter as well? I think you're on Twitter as well.
I am.
Also, Lyfesaver74. Yeah, go and make sure to check out their channels. We have a Team FeVR Twitch page as well, which is twitch.tv/team/FeVR. Is that correct?
Yep, I'm posting that in the stream and in the chat.
And there you can find all of our streamers that are part of the FeVR streaming community. And we have now a newly created Twitch FeVR Dreams channel for this podcast, however that's called, our discussion. VOD podcast.
It's a vodcast.
Funcast, indeed.
I love it.
I do want to say a special thanks to those of you who might saw him last stream, last podcast. Was Crane, and he's been helping out with the questions in the back end, doing a lot of making sure we don't miss things from the viewers that are here now currently live. So thank you to Crane. I appreciate you as well.
Yeah, and his Twitch, he's streaming also every weekday, and he's streaming on twitch.tv/crane_. So you can find it. And yeah, you will be able to listen to this on YouTube or watch this on YouTube later. We will put on the podcast there. And yeah, then that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining. Cypher and Live. And see you all next time. Have a good one. In 2 weeks, we are back.
All.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Later.
All right.